Good evening to all of you who have studied today. Hopefully my voice will hold up. Isaiah, Ishayahu, the son of Amoz. Verse 2, Hear heaven, listen earth, Adonai is speaking. He that hath an ear, let him hear. I raised and brought up children, but they rebelled against me. An ox knows its owner, a donkey its master's stall. But Israel does not know. My people do not reflect. A dog knows how to get back home. We ditched our dog when I was young, about 30 miles away from the house. 2-3 days later, that dog was scratching on the door. We drove, wasn't quite 30 miles. That was little, seems like 30 miles, probably, call it about 10 to 13 miles, somewhere around there, maybe even 15. It was as little as 10 and as high as 15 miles from the house. Deep in the park, a really thick, large park off the side of the road. And guess what? 2-3 days later, that dog was knocking on the door, found its way back. Dogs can do that. They've been known to travel clear across the continent. A donkey knows how to find its way back home. But the people of Israel, have you lost your way? Have you lost your way? O sinful nation, people weighed down by iniquity. They talk about being weighed down by credit, by debt, by whatever. But the real thing that weighs us down is iniquity. You immoral children. Of course, immoral. Anytime you put money, sex, working out, hobbies, addictions, whatever before God, they have abandoned Adonai. He said in Chronicles, I haven't abandoned you, you have abandoned me. Don't you like it when people, they don't talk, they don't communicate, and they try to flip the table on you? It says they've abandoned Adonai, spurred the Holy One of Israel. They turned their backs on him. That is generally the case, isn't it? Be honest. Most of you know that you've turned your back on God. No need to have a conversation about that. Where should I strike you next? Where should I spank you next as you persist in rebelling? The whole head is sick. The whole heart is diseased. From the sole of the foot to the head, there's nothing healthy. Only wounds, bruises, festering sores in your body that haven't been dressed or bandaged or softened up with oil. God is trying to tell you something. How sick you are. And it's your fault, not his. Your land is desolate. Your cities are burnt to the ground. Foreigners devour your land in your presence. It is as desolate as and overwhelmed like a flood. Well, the daughter of Zion is left like a shack in a vineyard, like a shed in a cucumber field, like a city under siege. If Adonai Zavod, the Lord of hosts, had not left us a tiny, tiny little remnant, we would have become like Sodom and would have been similar to Amorah. Here is what Adonai says, you rulers of Sodom, listen to God's Torah, you people of Amorah. So he says, had God not had his mercy, they would have totally been destroyed. But they're acting like Sodom and Amorah, so he addresses them as Sodom and Amorah before they were destroyed. And he goes, listen to God's Torah. Listen to his instruction. Why are all those sacrifices offered to me? Why? Asked Adonai. I'm fed up with your offerings and your rams, the fat of the fattened animals. I get no pleasure from the blood of bulls, lambs, and goats. Yes, you come to appear in my presence. You showed up on Sunday morning, Wednesday night. But who asked you to do this? To trample through my courtyards. Ah, stop bringing me your worthless grain offerings. They're disgusting incense to me. Well, I've seen many movies where the women, movies, people in real life. It's like, yeah, oh, you remember my birthday? Oh, you remember Valentine's Day? Oh, you remember our anniversary? And the wife knows you're just doing it. You don't really mean it. You give an offering and you toss it, you throw the flowers down. You don't really mean it. Oh, yeah, I left your gift on the table. You don't really mean it. There's no love in what you give. There's no love in what you sing. There's no love in how you praise. God goes, I'm sick of it. Yeah. Rosh Hashanah Shabbat, calling convocations. Churches always say, I got a meeting. We're doing this. God goes, what are you doing? You're going through the rituals. I can't stand evil together with your assemblies. I can't stand evil together with your assemblies. Everything in me hates your Rosh Hashanah, your festivals. They are a burden to me, and I'm tired of putting up with them. Doesn't that sound like the Lord has just had enough? When you spread out your hands, I will hide my eyes from you. No matter how much you pray, I'm not going to listen because your hands are covered with blood. Nobody hates it more than God. When someone says hello and they don't mean it, and someone says thank you and they don't mean it, and someone says have a good night and they don't mean it, and you know the type. There's no respect and no honor. They're just going through the motions. They say the word prayer like the way they pray grace over food. There's no depth. The prayer is so serious. It's not, oh, I'll pray for you. No. It's much more serious. It's not hello. Most of you say prayer like you say, hello, hey, how you doing? There's no depth to it. There's no realness. Wash yourselves clean. Get your evil deeds out of my sight. Stop doing evil. Learn to do good. Seek justice, relieve the oppressed, defend the orphan, plead for the widow. Come now, come now, says Adonai. Let's talk this over together. Because even if your sins are like scarlet, they will be white as snow. Well, if what? Even if they are red as crimson, they will be like wool. If what? If there's a condition. If you are willing and obedient. Not just obedient, but willing. Willing and obedient. You will eat the good of the land, but if you refuse and you rebel, you will be eaten by the sword. That's a metaphor for death, however it comes. For the mouth of Adonai has spoken. How the faithful city has become a whore. There you go. You know what a whore is, don't you? Once she was filled with justice, righteousness, lodged in her. But now, murderers. Your silver is no longer pure. Your wine is watered down. Your leaders are rebels. You are friends of thieves. Boy knows some of you have got the wrong friends. You run with the wrong crowd. That includes the people you might do business with. Same thing. They all love bribes and run after gifts. You know how many deals are done in real estate with people bribing each other, under table, backdoor dealing? They give no justice to the orphan, the widow. Complaint doesn't even catch their attention. Therefore, says the Lord Adonai, the mighty one of Israel, I will free myself of my adversaries. I will take vengeance on my enemies, but I'm also going to turn my hand against you. I'm going to cleanse you with your impurities as with lye. Now, you know lye is a very strong chemical. I'm going to remove all your alloyed base metals. I will restore your judges as at first. Now, this is after the lie and the chemical process. He's going to go spiritual chemotherapy. After that, you will be called the city of righteousness, faithful city. Zion will be redeemed by justice, and those in her who repent by righteousness. Rebels and sinners together will be broken. And those who abandon, rebels, that's the willful intent not to aim for the mark that God tells you to aim for. Sinners are the ones that aim for it and still miss it. You will be ashamed of the sacred cake, oaks you desired. Yeah. You will blush at the gardens you chose, for you will be like an oak whose leaf has faded, like a garden without water. The strong will be like tinder, the idol maker like a spark. Both will burn together, and no one will put them out. This is the word that Ishayahu, the son of Amos, saw concerning Judah and Jerusalem. In the Akrit Hayamim, the last days, the mountain of Adonai's house will be established as the most important mountain. It will be regarded more highly than any other hill. And all the Goyim will stream there. That's Gentiles. Many people, and this is the very last. This is a time that hasn't happened yet. Many people will go and say, come, let us go to the house of the Lord, the mountain of Adonai, to the house of God of Yaakov, who he will teach us about his ways. He says he's going to teach Torah, and that's said many other times in the other prophetic scriptures. What's going to happen? Don't you know that 1,000 years we're going to be learning Torah? For out of Zion will go forth Torah, the word of Adonai from Yerushalayim. Oh, guys, don't you look forward to that? Don't you? Well, how are you living now? Do you live like you're looking forward to it? I don't think so. I don't think so. You could, but you're not. He will judge between the nations and arbitrate for many people. See, that's when the Lord's going to rule. Then they will hammer their swords into plow blades, their spears into pruning knives. Nations will not raise sword at each other. They will no longer learn war. Descendants of Yaakov, come. Let's live in the light of Adonai, for you have abandoned your people, the house of Yaakov. Now they are filled with from the east, full of sorcerers, even children of foreigners. Their land is full of silver and gold. They have no end of treasuries. Their land is full of horses. They have no end of chariots, full of idols. Everyone worships the work of his own hand. Yeah, your own brand, your own tech company, your own business, your own painting, your own whatever. Everybody worships what his own fingers have made. Look what I've done. Look what I do. Look how much I make. Look where I've gone. A person bows down. A man lowers himself. Don't forgive them. Come into the rock. Hide in the dust to escape the terror of Adonai, the glory of his majesty. The proud looks of man will be humiliated. The arrogance of men will be bowed down. And when that day comes, Adonai alone will be exalted. Yes, Adonai is the Lord of hosts. Has a day in store for all who are proud and lofty, all who are lifted high will be humiliated. For all the cedars of Lebanon that are high and lifted up, for all the oaks of Bashan, for the high mountains, for the hills that are lifted up, for every high tower, for every fortified wall, for every Tarshish ship, for every luxurious vessel. The pride of man will be bowed down. The arrogance of men will be humiliated. Whatever houses you built, whatever mansions, whatever skyscrapers, whatever rockets you think you're going someplace where you've not, all of the things, the pride that we build. How many trophies for your NBA? Adonai alone will be exalted. The idols will be completely abolished. That includes your Lombardi trophy, along with that Oscar statue. People will enter cracks in the rocks and holes in the ground to escape the terror of Adonai and his glorious majesty. When he sets out to convulse the earth, shake it. On that day, man will take hold of his idols, his silver. You know, when people are running, they try to grab their treasures. Quick, the fire's coming, the earthquake. Where are you going? Going your safe, you're getting your precious things. They're going to grab the things they worship, their wealth. Get the money. Open up the safe. Grab the cash. All the stuff they make. Grab that painting. Get the watch. Get the jewelry. The things you worship. And when you try to hide, there's not going to be enough room. You're going to fling it into holes, into the bats. You'll be trying to save your life. And you're going to have to let go of that gold bag you're holding on to. Then they will enter the cracks of the rocks and the crevices in the cliffs to escape the terror of Adonai and his glorious majesty. Terror and glory together when he sets out to shake the earth. Stop relying on man, in whose nostrils is mere breath. After all, man does not count for much. It's just dust. For see, the Lord Adonai will remove from Jerusalem, Yehudah, every kind of support, all reserves, food and water, heroes, warriors, judges, prophets, diviners, leaders, captains of 50, men, rank. He's going to remove it all. Your skillful musicians, your expert enchanters, your scientists. Yeah. I will put children in authority. Capriciousness will govern them. People will oppress each other. Everyone his friend, everyone his neighbor. The young will be insolent toward their elders. The insignificant, arrogant toward the rejected. A man will take hold of his brother in his father's house and say, hey, take his coat. You rule. Take charge. But on that day, he will protest. I don't have a remedy. I lack food and clothing myself. I'm in a bad spot myself. What do I know about ruling people? For Jerusalem is ruined and Judah has fallen because their words and deeds defy Adonai. You know, God, watch your mouth. That is just as murderous as your hand with a gun or a knife. Don't you know that that's what God sees as the most dangerous thing in a man is his mouth, which means his thoughts, the things you let come out of your mouth. Whether you are typing it, writing it, saying it, or thinking it. They parade their sin like Saddam. They don't even try to hide it. No, they don't. When I grew up, people tried to hide having affairs. They tried to hide the mistress. The gay guys tried to hide being gay. They didn't put on a dress and a rainbow flag and parade down the street and Walmart or in an open building or an open church. In the mall, they didn't come to work with LGBTQ tattooed all over them. There's no shame. Now they celebrate it. And if you don't acknowledge it, you're wrong. Or your drug addiction, your weed and your alcohol. They parade their sin like Saddam. You ever had somebody that's they're so deep in sin, they don't even hide it from you? You know, I can respect people that try to hide. At least it means they're still ashamed and they're embarrassed. Now people, they'll drink right in front of you. They don't even give a darn. They'll get drunk in front of you. They'll smoke drugs and shoot up a needle in front of you. Two men will stand in front of you, have a conversation, and tongue kiss each other. Two women will be sitting there making out in front of you as if it's nothing, right in front of you and your children. They have no shame. People were afraid, but they've lost their consciousness of sin. Sin is so bold now, it doesn't even feel the need to hide. Nobody's coming out of the closet. They're putting the righteous in the closet. It's you who have to hide, and most of you do. Most of you have been so shamed, you are the quiet ones now. I've seen unbelievers more loud than Christians. They parade their sin. They bring evil on themselves. Say that it will go well with the righteous. That they will enjoy the fruit of their actions. Woe to the wicked. it will go badly with him. For what has he done? For what he has done will be done to him. My people, children, oppress them. Women are ruling over them. My people, your guides are leading you astray. Sorry, ladies, God didn't put you in charge. All of that ancient religion, that was goddess worship, the worship of the vagina and fertility. Sorry, ladies. God made you to be ruled by your husband and your children to be ruled by a father. And then together to work as a king and a queen. The king is still the man. Sorry, ladies. You might hate that, but there's a reason for it. Because you were the first to lead the man to sin. It doesn't matter how much smarter you are and how much more spiritual you are. And that is the problem. You're more spiritual, more prone to the psychic, the devil, the demons, the enchanters, the charmers, the voodoo, the magic, the magicians. That's why you see those are mostly women doing that. And you men are letting them lead you. You are supposed to lead the woman. But how can you when you don't even let God lead you? These things are really clear in Isaiah, and it's simple. We have Israel's history. Don't do what they did. They turned back to the bottle and got drunk. Why do you? They turned back to women and sex and became worshipers of goddesses. Why are you? They turned back to the unbelievers and made business deals and partnerships with them. Why are you? They put their trust in men and the things that they build and the things that they make and the idols that they make of anything. Why are you? Look what happens. Israel was a test case to show the world what happens when we do that and what happens when we don't. Because when we don't, we are blessed. Remember that. Remember that.